What's up, everybody? Kasey Wells here, your independent write-in presidential candidate in 2020. And I'm in front of the Federal Reserve Bank here in Washington, D.C. Now, I don't know everything there is to know about the Federal Reserve Bank, but let me tell you a few things I do know. The Federal Reserve was founded in 1913 on December 22nd, when most of the congressmen and senators were out of office on Christmas break. And it was passed in a very sneaky way, and it was put together in a very sneaky way as well. Let me tell you about some of the foundations. Now, Senator Nelson Aldrich was responsible for writing many of the pamphlets and the papers that became the Federal Reserve Act. And he was the chairman of the National Monetary Commission. Years prior, in 1901, Nelson Aldrich's daughter, Abby Aldrich, his one and only daughter, married John D. Rockefeller Jr. And so for nearly a decade, the Rockefeller family had a heavy influence over the Aldrich family. And in 1910, Nelson Aldrich got together with Paul Warburg and some other J.P. Morgan associates. There were 6 of these men that got together on this, what they call Jekyll Island, and they put together the Federal Reserve Act there together in secret, and so that they could then get control over the money supply. What the Federal Reserve System did was give private bankers the ability to have control over our money supply. And the Federal Reserve is an independent agency. It has no government oversight, and it hasn't been audited in its over 106, we're going on 7-year now history. And so also in 1913, the federal government began taxing our income in order to help generate the revenue they needed to pay the interest our government owed the Federal Reserve for them being involved in our money supply. You see, the Federal Reserve issues the currency, the paper, our paper money. You can see it, the Federal Reserve note, at the top of all your dollar bills or whatever kind of bill denomination you have. What they do is they issue the currency to the federal government. The federal government then offers face value to the Federal Reserve for that in federal securities, and plus our government owes them interest on top of that, of them being involved in our money supply. Now, depending on your sources, it's said that around 40% to 8% of our income taxes go to pay the Federal Reserve the interest our government owes them for them being involved in our money supply. And it's also said, depending on your sources, that our federal government, or we the people, owe the Federal Reserve somewhere between $20 trillion and $12 trillion. So that comes out to being about $300 million a year in interest payments that we're paying to the Federal Reserve. And I say we owe zero. I say we should end the Fed and end this unjust interest payments we're making to them. We need to reset the debt and free we the people from this debt slavery. Now, the names and the families I mentioned previously about those that got together on Jekyll Island and were responsible for putting together the Federal Reserve Act, I believe it was the Rockefellers that came out dominant on that. And I believe the Rockefeller family are largely in control of the Federal Reserve. I believe the Rothschilds family are largely in control of the Bank of England, but really they both work together in tandem. If you go online and look up Rockefeller Financial, or I guess now it's known as Rockefeller Capital Management, and if you look at their board of directors, you'll find that there are both Rothschilds and Rockefellers on that board, and I believe that is the source of influence over the Federal Reserve. But you're going to have to elect me as president in order to really get to the root of that, so I can find that out to be the truth unequivocally. That's just my suspicion or my belief right now. And so I can tell you how I drew up that belief. It was from researching David Rockefeller. He was the patriarch of the Rockefeller family for many years, and I found out that he was the honorary chairman of the Council on Foreign Relations. He was also the honorary chairman of Rockefeller Financial, or now it's known as Rockefeller Capital Management. He was also the founder and honorary chairman of the America Society, the Council of Americas, the Trilateral Commission, and he was the one and only member of the member advisory group for the Bilderberg meetings. And if you look at the types of people that are a part of those organizations, you're going to find are, current and former secretaries of state, secretaries of defense, secretaries of the Treasury, and so on, heads of the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, and so on. Basically, the world leaders in economics and politics in this country were serving David on his private councils while he was alive. But he died in 2017, and since then, his family philanthropies and his families have took over control of what he had primary control of over all those organizations. His influence still persists, and there's something needs to be done about these non-governmental organizations that have tremendous influence over politics and economics in this country. I can also tell you about the Fed. Alan Greenspan was their chairman for many years, and so was Paul Volcker. And I can tell you these two men, Alan Greenspan and Paul Volcker, were both a part of the CFR. They attend the Bilderberg meetings, they attend the Trilateral Commission meetings, and they're also members of the Group of 30, which is a Rockefeller Foundation family development. That was a group of economists that get together and plot out their world economic plans as well. And if you also look into it, you'll find that many of the biggest bailout corporations that got the money for the bailouts back in 2008 were members of the Council on Foreign Relations. That's where people go to, or corporations go to learn how to get bailouts, how to get government subsidies, government contracts, how to get involved in the military-industrial complex and so on, and basically learn the tricks of the trade that the Rockefellers had developed over the years of how to basically cheat the system, to manipulate politics and economics in their personal favor to help themselves get richer while the poor continue to get poorer. Also, I can tell you, David Rockefeller, in his memoirs on page 405, he wrote that some even believe we are part of a secret cabal working against the best interests of the United States. And if that's this charge, I stand guilty and I'm proud of it. And if that's not high treason, I don't know what is. These people are the most treasonous people on the planet. Something needs to be done about how they have corrupted politics and economics in this country. And if you think the Trump administration has done it, you got to give me a break, because his cabinet is stacked with Council on Foreign Relations members, and so was every other administration before his, since I've been alive. Jared Kushner, he's attended the Bilderberg meetings. These people are in bed with these Federal Reserve associates, and until something is done to uproot that kind of corruption, oh gosh, I don't see anything getting better for us, at least for the 99% for the poor in this country. And so, if you're like me, if you want to end the Fed, if you agree that the U.S. Treasury should be in control of our money supply, not a group of private bankers, you got to write in Kasey Wells in 2020. If we do that, and if I'm president and we end this system and have the U.S. Treasury take over and have we the people in control of our government, then we would have all the money in the world to finance projects for public good, to help uplift all of us out of poverty, depending on what kind of programs we want to fund to help do that. I'm in support of universal health care and universal basic income and other things, but if we the people don't want those things, I'm not going to push it on the people. I just want to set us up with the power to be in control of the money and to get ourselves out of debt, to get ourselves to stop paying this kind of interest, so that we would have the resources and the funding to fund whatever it is that we want to do to help Americans thrive. And so, please, if you want to help us take our country back, take this power back, take the power to issue currency back, write in Kasey Wells in 2020. God bless you all. Thank you for listening. Please help me spread the word. Until then, take care. God bless. I'm out.